What up? What up? What up? Yes, I'm back again with a question. In today's times, have men forgot to be men? Forgot how to man? And we see it all the time. But let's jump into this little snippet.
If you have trouble breathing through your nose, pay close attention to
Oh,
this
yeah.
video.
Hold on for a minute.
Because this new invention from a top doctor at Cleveland Clinic could change your life.
Hello.
Boink.
Happy Friday. Doesn't feel like a Friday. I was driving here today. I was running a little late. I was on with my mom. She said, "Doesn't the show start in 5 minutes?" I said, "Yeah." Those girls, but I'm going to give her some good advice today. The feminization of modern men. I'm not
There
talking
we go.
physically. What's going on the inside? The why and why it's bad. How the weak-minded need to stop reacting to content, stop with the misinformation, guard me nonsense, and
Exactly.
also this concept about young, inexperienced women. If you meet a 19-year-old, guys out there, and she seems really great, is it safe to marry her when she's really young, or does she need to sow her oats? I'm going to tell some truth on that one. Those are your topics for today. I'm keeping it spicy, as always. Natalia is
Specifically, are you talking about when you say play the field?
Fair
chat,
use.
so
Fair
you're gonna wanna get into
use.
that chat. Super chats will get read on this show. Questions, comments. If you ask a crazy question that's really good, you know I'm going to go for that one. So just letting you know. You're going to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. We're going to dig into all of that. And we're going to begin with the Whatever Podcast. You guys know the Whatever Podcast. You know I love that one. It's that dude. I'm trying to get him on, actually. I want to talk about how he came to want to do a show with all these crazy women and how does he keep his sanity. My Lord. Let's start with that first clip. This is about a girl who says she played the field.
Don't they
I'll
all?
tell you whenever you're ready. The crazy is coming. Just be ready.
Relationship.
Couple months. I'm not a relationship girl.
What does that mean?
She's
Here's
for the
why I feel-
streets.
Wait,
She's
Oh, the Italian's
for
got the hands in there.
the
Stop.
streets.
Italian's got the
Just
hands
get
in
the
there.
pep in there. There we go.
No worries. No worries.
There we go. Let's go back a little. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead.
The girl.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Closer to the mic.
In college, I kind of just played the field per se. Yeah, but I don't I haven't wanted to settle.
You was in
I
them
don't wanna settle
streets,
for
tell the
anyone.
truth.
I think college guys are not exactly ready to settle themselves. So yeah,
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you enjoy playing the field?
I did, but I think I'm retired.
Retired?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
a senior now, so I'm ready for life.
So I'm curious to hear when you say play.
That's
the
a
field,
lie.
What specifically are you talking about when you say play the field?
Tested out different guys. Slept with different guys, I guess. Yeah.
So I feel like you guys are kind of ashamed of this, and
Yeah.
you shouldn't be. I don't think you should.
I don't either.
Oh.
It's embarrassing to admit, but at the end
Professional
of the day, I'm not
304
embarrassed.
chime in.
I learned a lot, and it has shown me what I want. At the
Okay,
end.
we can pause.
Exactly. How
So you notice right away that she is embarrassed. She's embarrassed. Why? Because it's embarrassing to say, I played the field. You're essentially saying that you slept around yourself. Reasons why. I think it's really interesting to observe in this next part how she talks about her reasoning for and justification for doing it. So let's go to that 10:30 back to back. Fascinating.
How we're supposed to figure out what we really want and what we really like if we don't experiment, especially in college.
That's always what they go back to. How are we going to know what we like if we don't experiment and do a whole bunch of things? And what this usually means, and we all know it, we've all seen girls like this, been around girls like this. These are the ones you run a train on. These are the ones that you pass around like, oh, it's your turn. You pass her around like a hot potato. Oh, it's your turn. It's your turn. Then when your turn come back around again, you'll probably be like, I think I'm good. I already had my piece, so you guys can keep at it. I'm gonna go over here. These are those type of girls. And see the one on the left who chimed in. You don't have to be ashamed of what what you did. It's okay. See, you had these friends that want to reinforce that, oh, it's okay to be a 3 or 4. No, it's perfectly fine. No, ladies, keep on doing it. Double it up, triple it up. And then when they get grown, like grown, like out of college, you're not going to college parties or stuff like that. For a split second, they have that quiet conversation with themselves. Like, you know what? Maybe I should take relationships more seriously, dating more seriously now. Maybe it's time for me to sit my ass down. But she done been ran through so many times. Her taco looks like a old Arby's sandwich. Just meat, just flapping, just. Hey, lady, where's your clit just hanging now? Is this, you need some duct tape for that? That's one hell of a Arby's sandwich.
This is the time to test out different things, different people. Yeah.
But I feel like there's
Okay, we
other
can
ways.
stop it there. So this is the justification. Oh, I'm already losing my cool. This is the justification
See,
for playing.
even women getting tired of the nonsense, because they see it too. They know. They've some of them may have lived through it themselves. They've seen it. They got siblings. They got relatives. They've seen it. They've seen the results of it. And there's a lot of women coming out today. They're tired of the BS too. Shout out to them for finally making their voices heard, because for the longest of time, like I always say, silence is tacit consent. A lot of them wasn't saying anything. They'll say it in their minds, like, oh, that's just trifling. That's just, that's out the frame. It's, that no woman should act like that. Just they would say it to themselves, but they would never speak out against it. So guys, we would look at it like, man, y'all all moving like that because either you quiet and you're not speaking up against it, or you all for it. You part of the loud crowd that condones it, just like the ladies sitting at the table talking about their 304isms. So shout out to the ladies who, wasn't never rocking like that. And for many years, they've been quiet, so we couldn't see y'all, but it's nice to see y'all now stepping up. Shout out to y'all.
The field. She's trying to now make it sound like playing the field is a way to figure out what you really want. No, that is different. Playing the field, she's talking about being promiscuous. She's talking about getting in and out of people's beds. She's talking about hookup culture. She even says initially that she's talking about instances where she doesn't take relationships seriously. What are you getting to know from that process? That is completely distinct from somebody who dates in college, who goes out on dates with different people, gets to know different personality types, goes out to dinner, has the long walk, has the great conversation. I'm not saying never.
I want to hear more from
So
the 304s.
Do you figure out in hook people from that process? That is
yeah.
honestly, you really want to get to know people. She's very saying, but yeah, I accept it. I have
Okay, see. That might be okay.
saying, but yeah, I accept it. I accept my crazy Italian. I wear it.
Okay, this is a different clip. I
So
lost
this
that
is a
other one.
section
It was another one I
about
wanted to.
Fresh and Fit.
It's probably a
about
different
Andrew
video.
Tate, and it's absolutely fascinating. It starts with two girls. I think they're influencers. I think they each have a separate channel, and they're getting this voice memo that another girl has left. She's very worried, people. She's very worried about what her boyfriend is listening to. So let's listen to her. I'm going to let this roll through in her own words. We're at 2104, and just take a look.
Girls After Dark. ZocDoc.com/Girls After Dark.
Girls. Okay, so for some background, I'm 25. My partner's 29. We've been together several years. I love him to pieces. Okay, so after watching your Fresh and Fit podcast, I asked my partner if he knows about it or if he's watched it. He said he hadn't heard of it, but as we were talking, he was watching an Andrew Tate video. I've noticed since then, like, how often he watches them and those type of guy talk podcasts, but never Fresh and Fit. To be honest, when I'm like home and in the other room, like those kind of guy talk podcasts just like turn me off so fast.
They're not
Pretty sure
for
he
you.
watches most of them when I'm not home because he can tell that I get a little annoyed. So I'm curious to your opinions on Andrew Tate specifically, and if the ideas he promotes are any different from Fresh and Fit. I just worry because my partner does get kind of easily influenced by guys like that, and he's on social media a lot.
Oh, you're losing the ability to control him. That's what you're worried about.
He said as long as he treats me well, I have nothing to worry about, which, to be fair, he does. I just kind of worry, I don't know, isn't there something about, like, a certain kind of guy talk that, like, speaks to someone's character, you know? And, like, he's binging these videos. Am I just overthinking it? Have you girls ever been in similar, like, situations or had similar worries? Yeah, am I being controlling? Like, you know?
Yes, you are.
Stop being a Karen about guy talk. Like, I'm curious for divorce.
Both of
How you guys
those,
feel about
and
that.
I
he's
love that. How
simping
do I stop
for
being a Karen? You're being a
not
Karen.
standing up for
You're
himself.
being a Karen. And you're being a little controlling too. Let him listen to what he wants to listen to. Okay. All right. So this is interesting to me. Let's be clear first and foremost about what she's worried about. She is worried that her guy is going to listen to this red pill commentary. She specifically mentions Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate, and that he's going to be influenced by it. In other words, that he's going to listen and he's going to sit back and he's going to look at his relationship with her, and maybe he's going to be like, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that before. Or, you know what, I really don't like that she does that. Maybe I should
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
say something. Or, maybe I need
He's
to
gonna
talk-
realize.
That's what she's worried about. She's
That's exactly it. She's worried that he's gonna be like, you know what? I've been getting railroaded this whole time, because it's gonna open his mind to think from another angle, like. And then I'm sure in their relationship there were times that he naturally, like, bucked at something, like he wasn't trying to accept something that was going on or something she said, and that probably turned into a whole argument, silent treatment, the whole nine. And what she's worried about is that's going to happen more often, which is not a bad thing, especially on his behalf, because his natural man instinct was kicking in. Like, something is not right about this situation. And we keep encountering these same arguments, disagreements, and over the course of time, it's going to wear on him. It's going to wear on him. And it's going to get to the point where he's going to be like, you know what? I'm not happy in this relationship. This is a bunch of bullshit, and I should have never put up with this shit to begin with. That's what she's worried about. She's going to see her grip. Right now, she's the puppet master. She's got him on a string. She got him where, despite the casual disagreements or whatever, assuming, that they have any, because the way she's sounding, they might not even have any, because her puppet strings are so strong. Now, I'm talking strong as each string is the strength. Remember those chains? Those of you that had pit bulls, healthy pit bulls, strong, used to work the dog. Our dog was like built, like solid, strong as fuck. You have a chain connect to his collar. That chain represents the strength of the strings that this guy, his woman, has over him. And she's afraid that those chains are going to start snapping bit by bit, slowly but surely. That's her concern. Because once the chain starts to snap, no more control. No more using her man as a pawn on a chessboard. Maybe he'll finally start to stand up and think for himself. Like, yo, you've been playing me this whole time. And all this time, I thought I was happy. And you know what? The conclusion I've come to is I haven't been happy for a long damn time. That's what she's worried about. That's what she's worried about. Anyway, I just had to season my thoughts right quick.
He's worried about some truth hitting him while he's listening to that that's going to change a dynamic in their relationship that she really likes. She seems to be comfortable with where things are. So she feels like he's malleable, right? She feels like he's malleable. And this is what I'll say. We exist in a world where we are constantly consuming stuff. If it's not a podcast, it's a television show. We read a magazine. We do not exist in a relationship in a bubble. The person that we are dating, married to, whatever, goes out, has their own conversations with their friends, listens to podcasts. My husband listens to podcasting all day long, all different types of content. If you are worried that the person that you are with is going to transform into a completely different person by virtue of listening to a wide variety of content, you have a bigger problem in your relationship, which is that you are afraid that that's not really who he is, or you're afraid that he's too malleable, or you're afraid that he doesn't know himself. There's something else going on. You cannot try to have a relationship with a guy, with a female, and put them in a bubble. You know it. You know you're going to get into an argument at one point, and that girl's going to call one of her friends, and, they're going to talk it out. You can't worry every time they consume something from the world that they're going to turn into somebody different. It'll drive you crazy, and she shouldn't be worried about that. If
In
she
theory,
is worried
she
about
shouldn't
that,
be.
She should have a conversation with him about that. There's something deeper going on here. Now, the response by
He needs to let his
women
balls
to
drop
Russian
too,
Fit
though.
in particular is fascinating to me. So we're going to listen to that response, and we're going to dig into why this response is so unbelievably problematic. Let's go to 2536.
Thing like the Fresh and Fit podcast where we listen, and I do feel like it's
Yeah.
just like total low blows.
The Fresh and Fit podcast is just a no-go for me. If I ever saw my boyfriend watching that, that would just be like a total red flag, because I've realized that they are like the bottom of the barrel shit version of Andrew Tate. Like, they want to be like him, but they are just so like hateful towards women that I guess are just even worse.
Yeah, and I think that you're not being a Karen, you're not being controlling. I think it's normal if you're watching your man.
Coming from a Karen, oh, you're not being controlling, because this is how she navigates her relationships with her guys. She had them on a string. Oh, don't listen to this because you might be influenced to think or recognize me for who I really am. I've been wearing a mask the whole time we've been together, and I don't want you watching any red pill content. No, it's probably not just that. It's probably movies, and I mean, it's no telling how far it goes with some of these westernized women, as far as the control that they try to have on you if you let them. You have to, first of all, you have to be grounded in yourself. Your goals, your purpose, where you want to go, where you want to be, who you want to be. You should already know this before you even try to get a woman anyway. As long as you know those basic fundamentals about yourself, you'll be able to see if a woman is wearing a mask a long time ago. You'll be able to see that shit. And those that they stick around and they cool, if they so obsessed with what you're listening to, and that you it's not even a matter of you being influenced. It's a matter of your eyes opening to the things you should have never been putting up with in the first place. Maybe you were too nice. Maybe you're too relaxed and laid back. Maybe you're not straightforward enough. You're not communicating what you demand of your woman. and it's been going on so long, you kind of fell into this rut. And if she's so into not letting you or not wanting you to listen to certain content, thinking that it might spark something in your brain that'll make your balls drop, and you be like, you know what? Nah, I ain't putting up with this shit no more. That's what she's worried about. And this woman right here on the right, she sounds like she runs her relationships the same way. Because she sees nothing wrong with what the lady's doing in her relationship. That's why she said, oh, no, you're not a Karen. You're doing the exact thing you're supposed to do. You're right. There's nothing wrong with your approach. This is why she's saying that.
Man who, you have this like good relationship with, like, listen to people that are kind of like saying controversial things that could potentially change the way he views certain things or change the way that he might treat you in the future or react in certain situations within your relationship. Yeah, that's going to be a turnoff. It's going to be a turnoff that your man is listening to someone like this because
Okay. So again, they are so worried that their guys will go and listen to content. They label it controversial. Honey, everything's controversial. Politics is controversial. You listen to a liberal, you listen to a conservative. This stuff is, manosphere stuff is controversial. Go listen to some feminist content. You want to hear controversial. Everything in life now is controversial. Because everyone.
The problem is
kind of
everybody done
in
got
this place
soft.
where
That's
they're
the
talking,
problem.
But they're feeling like, especially in the podcast space, this is a space where finally I can say what I really think. Everything's controversial because everyone's always waiting to be offended all the time, too.
All the time.
Fresh and Fit
All the
Right? She doesn't have to
damn
agree with all of
time.
Myron's comments. I don't agree with all of Myron's comments. Myron is not hateful. He is not hateful. That is the wrong word. And it looks to me like she hasn't spent a lot of time watching the content because nothing he's saying is hateful. Is it controversial? Sure. Because it's going to make some people mad. Of course. Is it hateful? No.
Fuck
That's a
them
big
people to
distinction.
get mad.
So I ask again, why would you be afraid for your guys to listen to the content? Because think about it this way. Let's say they know their guys and they're going to come back and say, no, my guys would never support what Myron's saying. My guys would hate when we get to that. Just making you sex game because I'm married and I have a great sex life. She's talking like that. But we'll do the best we can. But you can hear sex game because I'm married and I have a great sex life. But regardless, last I checked,
Where's the,
presentations of what about Andrew Tate.
yeah, this might not be the video, but I know
You're
it's
gonna listen
enough.
to it and be like, I'm
Okay.
motivated. But the issue is that I said to Claudia yesterday, I was like, he's poisoning these weak men. He's poisoning weak men's minds out there because a lot of men are not, an alpha male, if you want to use that term, whatever you want to say.
Okay, wait,
Most men
pause
are
for a
not.
second. Are you, honey? Are you? Come now. I know this guy's a bodybuilder, by the way. I went and looked at his page, but alpha comes from the inside. Alpha is not this. I mean, great. Oh, Jed's got guns. Yay. Alpha is not that. Alpha is in here. The alpha guy comes from the inside out. Is he an alpha?
And it's sad because dude do sound kind of, I ain't even going to say it, but, a woman having to tell you this, that's what I say. Like, a lot of men today forgot how to man.
Alpha, I would ask him, are you an alpha guy? You think so? All right. Interesting. Alpha guy would have just sat there and listened to the do-girls talking like that about their old, his penis is just, they just slipped in. I don't know about that, audience. What do you think? What do you think? I have my doubts. Also, right from the top, how is Andrew Tate poisoning men? I want to know where the poison is. Where is it? Is it when he says, get off your ass? Is it when he says, get into the gym and work out? Is it when he says you shouldn't rely on prescription medication to cure depression? Is it when he says you are responsible
Facts.
for owning your own life and your own choices? What part is it when he says you should be financially stable?
Those
and
are
you
all
should be able to
positive
take care of
messages,
yourself and your
and they don't
family?
like when
Is it when he
men
says
come
that
with
it's
those.
a guy's job to protect his woman even if he has to
Unless you're
die
part
to
of
protect her? Where is
that
I wanna know where the poison
alternative
is.
community.
I want to know. So it's very obvious this guy just watched a bunch of TikTok shorts. And I'm telling you that because that's what I did initially. I owned that part of my journey. We're going to get back to that at the end of the show because I need to remind you of that. So where's the poison? Okay, let's keep going.
98% of men are not like that, like go-getter mindset. They're like weak. They're weak-minded, and this is like penetrating that in a really negative way. Because yes, he might live this lifestyle. He might think these things and say these outlandish things. One, he's probably just saying it for fucking views. Two, when a weak-minded man listens to this, they're thinking that's the fucking answer. That's why I'm a loser, or I am weak-minded. I need to start thinking like fuck women. Then I'll have validation of myself. But yet that's like the issue with Andrew Tate is that he's.
If you listen to this dude, he's backdoor trying to get validation from those two women on there. Just listen.
Putting this image and like mindset into people that should not have. Not that anyone should have that mindset, but they should definitely not be watching this because they're just getting. It's like they're getting brainwashed in a direction that they can't even handle.
Don't you love this? Don't you love? Do I have any in the audience,
Wow.
in the chat? Do I have any Andrew Tate fans? I'm just curious because you've just been infantilized by this guy. He has infantilized you the way modern feminists do to women all the time. You apparently are dumb and you're not strong enough. You're basically a bunch of weak-ass bitches. You're sitting at home, you're watching Andrew Tate, and you're just absorbing. You can't possibly process what he's saying because you're so weak that you're going to misinterpret it, and you can't be trusted to form your own opinion. How infantilizing to everyone. By the way,
He's
just so this
definitely
happens,
seeking
the
validation
weak-ass bitches aren't listening
from
to
the broads
Andrew Tate.
on
That's not
the
who's
mics
listening to
next to
Andrew
him.
Tate, honey. The weak-ass bitches are watching pornography all day long. They're playing video games all day long. They are doing drugs. They're overweight. They're sitting on the couch with a bag of Cheetos. They're becoming obese. They are, not financially stable, not working toward anything. Those are the weak-minded people. They're not going to be
Exactly.
drawn to a guy who's very rough on guys. Very. He's like, get off your ass. No excuse. He is inviting you against their man. Listen to this. Let's go. We're at 41:18.
And like we've discussed that people in the YouTube space will talk about this kind of stuff, but like politicians do this, where they basically take 5 attributes about themselves and make sure they always stay on those 5 attributes. So for Andrew Tate, it's probably like toxic masculinity. Like this guy probably maps out like what he does.
And that's another Hit Dogs holler phrase. They tried to make the big bad boogeyman word toxic masculinity. And it usually comes from women on that feminist trip. And when it comes from dudes, you just gotta look at them with the side eye because they're coming with an angle. And they're looking over their shoulders to see what women are paying attention to them. Who's giving them validation? Who's giving them validation for acknowledging that toxic masculinity exists? And that's their whole purpose. They're trying to get taco coupons. And for those of you that have listened to my videos, you know I'm not referring to the food, the actual food, but the taco between women's legs. These are the coupons guys like this are searching for. The pat on the head, the Scooby-Dooby snacks from Slurpees.
To make sure he stays on
No, he
brand
does.
Literally.
with what his message is, because he doesn't want to trip up, because if he trips up, then that audience is going to be like, oh, well, that's not why I liked him in the first
The
place.
problem with that and staying on brand with those characteristics is that all these other dudes think that that's 100% Andrew.
Yeah.
And then they see his success, so they're like, I need to do what Andrew does to get the success. But Andrew doesn't even fucking do that.
This dude, not saying it's the case, but this dude's probably in bed like crying himself to sleep at night because this isn't actually the way that he like all out thinks.
Okay.
Listen to these dudes. These dudes sound like straight up women. like straight up bitches. Like y'all just one of the girls sitting up there. You gonna share bras with them too? So I guess earlier we could have said, well, there's 2 304s up there. My mistake. There's 4 304s up there. Sorry.
You can't think.
So based on what, doll? Based on what do you say that? So you have decided now. You don't know Andrew Tate. You clearly haven't watched any of his long form comedy
At all. Okay.
You have
and that's another thing. You know, you say anything, especially in today's times, you say anything against the narrative. Like you speak out against feminism, all of a sudden you hate women. If you say something, you point out some of the debaucherousness and the nonsense that goes on in the black community, the crazy and stupid things that a lot of black women do, you point that out and you talk about how that's basically some bullshit and they shouldn't be operating like that. All of a sudden you hate black women. You hate your mama. That's a famous quote that comes out of the black community from black females who are acting out in a debaucherous, annoying, masculine, just whatever words you could think of type of way. And as soon as you point it out, you hate your mama. These are the same BS labels that people want to throw at you when you disagree with them and you speak out against the bullshit they on. You got to notice that and operate accordingly.
Decided that he's talking point driven, that he creates a little list of talking points and he gets up and he's like, I gotta hit this, this, and this. You can't possibly wrap your head around the idea that this is just a guy who feels the way that he feels, right? And he says controversial stuff that's not always popular and he doesn't give, he doesn't care. He's saying what he's got to say. Why does that rub you so wrong? No, it's got to be contrived. It's got to be contrived. You've decided that about him, and you've also decided that he's actually quite weak, in your view. You've decided that he is in bed crying himself to sleep at night. Based on what? It's based on the need you have to make him weak in order to make yourself feel strong. That's why you're doing that, because his strength bothers you.
That's facts. And them dudes, let me tell you, they definitely operating like women. And there's a lot of dudes out there like that. Let me be the first to say. But I'm about to bounce up out of here. Glad you guys can stop by to the Red Blizzard 357 show. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, show support, donate, hit up the Cash App, $ Cobra Clutch 357. That being said, I'm in the breeze.